Our next Hall of Famer, new Hall of Famer, will forever be remembered by Cardinals fans for a particular shining moment in his athletic career.
In the air to left, well hit. Back is Craig. What a team. What a ride. The Cardinals are world champs in 2011.
Yeah, we could watch that over and over again, couldn't we? Not bad for a converted catcher who never threw a single pitch in high school or at Iona College. Jason Motte had 5 postseason saves for the Cardinals in 2011, led the National League with 42 that year, as our executive director told you earlier. In a perfect world, he would have gone on to spend the rest of his career closing for the Cardinals. But pro sports, as we know, are not perfect. And after Tommy John surgery cost him the 2013 season, he went on to pitch for the Cubs. The Rockies and the Braves. And Jason is one of those guys who has a commitment to giving back in life, as evidenced by his 2 charitable foundations and the annual Cornhole Challenge held each August that raises money to fight childhood cancer. The 9th annual event just concluding a few weeks ago. We can also now call him Coach Motte, as he continues to give back by coaching baseball for the young men at Christian Brothers High School in Memphis. Please enjoy reading Jason's bio in tonight's program. Our resident baseball historian, Ed Wheatley, will return to chat with Jason. Please welcome to the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame, Jason Motte.
You guys are jealous that baseball's best town in America to be sitting up here with a World Series champion. How cool. It is. I mean, you man set the stage, so let's just go right to 2011. You came, took off that finish run to the end, then the playoffs against Philadelphia and Milwaukee, and then the World Series. You pitched in multiple games, and 5 of them. But the key was Game 6. Everybody knows here what happened, but they remember you kept the 9th and 10th innings going. So we get Freeze's home run, and then the next night you close it off. Somehow you had to take the whole force of Yachty jumping on you. Yeah. So why don't you give us your memory of what 2011 was like?
So that season, for a lot of y'all who remember, so we were about 10 and a half games back at the end of August. Wasn't doing really well. And another St. Louis Sports Hall of Famer, Chris Carpenter, and a couple other guys kind of brought us in and was like, listen, we're playing horrible baseball. Like, this is not Cardinal baseball. We need to step it up. We've got, a month and a half left, and let's just see what happens.
I think it was more than what's going to happen. I remember at the Nights of the Cauliflower Ear Dinner, remember that?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Adam got up and said, we're going to win this. Yeah. And then I won't repeat what he said, but he said, we're going to win it.
Fellas, that's what he said,
something like that.
Yeah, and honestly, from that point on, it was kind of a blur. Honestly, we kind of just kept our head down and just took it one game at a time. Went out there and did what we could do to win ball games. We were winning. The Braves and some other teams were losing, which was really good for us. And then it came down to the final game of the season down in Houston. Chris Carpenter threw an amazing game down there. We won. The Braves lost. And then we celebrated down there. We got to go to Philly, play there. Saw some really cool games down there. Went to Milwaukee, was able to beat them, and then got a chance to go to the World Series and play Texas. And like I said earlier, I feel like it was just a big blur. I really didn't get a second to honestly take it in, because when those moments happen, I feel like people tell you to enjoy it. And I think one of the first times I enjoyed it was when I was walking down the ramp, Game 7. And there's videos of it. I kind of walked down the ramp and kind of remember looking around at the stadium being like, this is kind of cool. And kind of was like, all right, took my hat off, did my thing, went to jog in. One of the police officers had some words for me of go get him. He didn't say that, but he said some other choice words of what I should do out there. Went out there and, next thing I know, fly balls hit Alan Craig, and I got to see, Yachty's beautiful face, coming out at me. I went to give him a big hug and forgot the 30 other people coming from this direction, and, end up on the bottom of the dog pile. It was a pretty cool time. Last thing about that is, so I was at the bottom of the dog pile. I'm like, I got hit by everybody, my hands sideways. Everybody's screaming. I'm like, Yachty. He's like, what's up, Poppy? I'm like, I think I just broke my thumb. He's like, it's okay. We got like 4 months. You'll be fine. I was like, okay, sweet, man.
Well, that's great. That's great. We remember you as a sterling pitcher. You grew up you were born in Michigan. You grew up in New York. You went to Iona College in New York. But before you got to the mound at Busch Stadium, you have a little detour in your career there. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, so I was a catcher my whole life. I was thinking family stuff and happened again.
Take your time, man. Yeah. Started as a catcher before a pitcher. Yeah.
So I was yep. So I was a catcher, my whole life. Growing up, went to high school, college as a catcher. Got drafted as a catcher. Played a couple years in the minor leagues, and that same catcher that I went to give a big hug to was there, Yadier Molina, and I felt bad for him. He didn't have really another position he could play, so I figured I would be the one to try something else. Like they said earlier, I'd never really pitched. I think one of the only other times I pitched, my older brother's here, I pitched in the backyard against him when I was like 8 years old. He was 10 years older than I was, played baseball, so I always kind of wanted to be like him. And I would be in the backyard when I lived in Colorado. So he jokes around that the reason I was so good at pitching is because, I'm a 8-year-old trying to strike out an 18-year-old. So, I had to be pretty decent at it. So, I had never really pitched before that. Went out there and I guess my options were pitch or go home. And I was like, I don't really want to go home yet. I'll give it a whirl. And kind of went out there, started throwing a baseball, and really just gave it everything I had. And that's kind of how I did it out there. I hope that, the fans, I hope you all know that I did everything I could every single time out there. I had some really good times, had some really, really bad times. No, don't awe. They were awful. They were bad. But
we remember the good. We remember the good.
Yes, and I remember both. Kind of. It's really weird how that works.
You see the pattern up here. With Justine and her Wimbledon thing. A little bling every time we come up, isn't there? Look at his little finger there with a little.
I got it every now and then.
Yeah. Go for that. So you talked about the fans. You hear it in here, the roar. All you do is say Cardinals, and boom, baseball applause. What is it like? You played in Chicago. You played in Colorado, Atlanta. But what is it like to play in front of Major League Baseball's best fans?
I've had people ask me all the time, like, what was my favorite place to play? And my answer is, honestly, like, there's really not a bad place to play in the big leagues. My whole life, growing up, I was like, I always wanted to be a Major League Baseball player. Mm-hmm. I lived, like I said, all over the place, Florida, New York, everywhere. But, to be able to play here in St. Louis for these fans, and for me, it's and we'll probably hit on this here in a second. It's the stuff that, the fans did for us on the field, cheering for us, showing up for the games. The fans know the games.
Right.
Some other places, they're there, cheering on, but, may not know the game as well as a lot of Cardinal fans. But, what the Cardinal fans did for us off the field and the way they showed their support for us and our foundation off the field is what really, for me and my wife, means the world to us.
And I think that's something. You were a battler and a winner on the field and off the field. You and your wife, Caitlin, who was over there, you're battlers and looking for that win, Strikeout Cancer in your foundation. So why don't you give us a little bit of, how that came about and, because that is something very important.
So my wife's grandfather was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer about 2 months before our wedding back in 2010, and he was getting treatment. in Memphis. See, so what some of y'all don't know is some of you guys have seen me pitch and do all that, but I'm big teddy bear, and a lot of people don't know it. So, so I'm gonna try to get through this.
You'll get it.
You know, but you know, we had a question of how can we help? How can we help people the way that people help my wife's grandfather going through this? And at the time, there was a place in Memphis, and they needed blankets. And we're like, you know, we can do blankets, we can do a couple events. So we started doing events in Memphis, wanted to do an event here in St. Louis, and didn't really know what to do. This is about the first time I've been dressed up in about like this in about 4 years. So I'm no good at golf. So, you know, we came up with our cornhole event,
Right.
and just wanted to do it and have another way to raise money and awareness for people battling, because cancer has affected so many people probably in this room. I know it's affected, you know, my wife's family and a lot of others so many different ways. So we just wanted to help out in any way we can, and that led to events in Memphis, Chicago, different minor league ballparks, high schools, and stuff like that. And, you know, through the efforts of people wanting to help give back, you know, we've been able to raise over $2 million for cancer research and stuff like that. And that's what I was talking about earlier.
Yeah. And that's where, you know, you're a winner on the field. You're a winner off the field. Your foundation, you're coaching young men down there at CBC. That's why we wanted you in the Hall of Fame. Let's give a big hand. Jason Motte.
While Jason is up here, we'd like to also recognize the St. Louis Cardinals as a champion sponsor for